YouTube. It's MrUndeadYouth here on Maddie Daddy 12's channel, and yeah, I'm here to give you guys a deck profile, talk a bit about what my channel is about, and hope you guys will sub to me. But before I start, I just want to say big shout out, big thank you to Maddie Daddy 12 for putting me on his channel and hyping me up and telling everybody to check me out. I really appreciate it. I posted a comment on one of his videos, which is actually pretty ironic because he was talking about how this card is kind of degenerate in a way, and so now I'm going to do a deck profile featuring the card, which kind of only goes to, show his point. But anyway, I really want to thank him. A lot of guys wouldn't have even given my comment much attention, but he actually checked me out and subbed to me for that, so that was really cool. And just to talk a bit about what my channel is about, I'm a young, up-and-coming YuGiOh player slash YouTuber. I just got my first nationals invite, so I've been topping a lot recently in my area and kind of branching outside of that. And so basically what my channel is it's the game from the perspective of a player who's getting better, not an established player and not a terrible player. Just someone who's continuously rising, and I do a lot of videos on how to get better at the game. And I just do a lot of theory of things. I do a really cool thing where I break down certain decks, card for card. Like I skip over no staples. I don't just do an overview of the interesting cards or the busted cards or the combos. I go through every card in the deck, tell you why every staple's good, tell you why everything is the way it is. I don't skip over anything, say something self-explanatory. I talk about everything. I don't do those a lot because I don't have a lot of subs. And they take like 30 minutes of me talking to myself, but I will if I get more subs and get more likes and things like that. And so yeah, that's pretty much my channel. I really hope you guys check it out. It's MrUndeadYouth. The more subscribers I get, the more things I'll be able to do. The better equipment I'll be able to get. Do dueling network and things like that. Dual videos, contests, giveaways, things like that. I really love to do those things. So yeah, without any further ado, we'll get into the deck I'm running right now, which is Machina Gadget for the new format. I was playing YuGiOh, but I actually think this is better right now for a few reasons I'll talk about as I go through the cards. So we have 2 of each gadget, yellow, green, red. The reason why we have 2 is because you don't want to draw too many of these in your opening hand, or at any point in time you want to use their effects to grab them. That's pretty much what they're there for. If you run 2 in a 42 card deck, you pretty much have 1 in 6 in your opening hand should be what you get every time, hopefully. Then you have the gear frame engine. You have 3 Machina gear frame, 3 Machina fortress, and 1 Machina cannon. The comment, or the topic of the video I commented on, was how degenerate this card can be at times, and it is very, very powerful, but the rest of the deck lacks muscle without it. So basically the idea of the deck is to use these guys, which generate advantage, to drop this guy, which is really big. You run this, I honestly want to bump it up to 2, because it's just an instant 1-card ditch for this, which makes him less of a minus. Gear frame's amazing, just because he grabs these and this, and he exceeds with these guys into gear again X, so that's all good. He's pretty much one of the best cards in the format right now. 25 gets over Megalo Abyss, which is very, very important. Crashes with Priestess, and then you get to pop a card. Gets over Lagia and Dolka, which is amazing. 25 is so good. Without Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, it's really just one of the strongest cards in the format right now. So I really like that, and also when it's targeted, you get to look at your opponent's hand and discard a card, which is amazing. It's a really very hard card to get rid of. 2 Maxi. The reason why I'm running 2 Maxi, I don't even really like many hand traps right now for reasons I talk about on my channel, but I do like Maxi because I do run Trags, and they feed off of each other. I really like this combo. Not only that, but Maxi helps make my Pot of Avarice live, and it also helps me draw because this deck has no actual draw engine, so I really like that. And I do like Maxi over Veiler right now. The reason why I wouldn't run Veiler is because this entire deck is built off of +1s. Veiler's a -1 for you all the time, and hopefully a -1 for your opponent, but most of the time it's not. So I don't like Veiler. Maxi is usually a 1-for-1, if not a +1, almost every time you play it, so it's at least better than Veiler. On to the spells, we have 2 MST. I'm not running 3 because Chaos Dragons is a deck, so and also Mermels are a deck. They just wait for you to MST and then you make it look stupid. And Trapless Agents are a thing, so you only need 2. Plus, we were playing 2 MST just fine for 3 formats, and nobody considered 3 to be necessary. 2 Duality, you need it. It's really good to couple with these guys. Search and search again. It's really cool. Reborn's amazing, obviously. It's an instant Gear Gigant X with these guys, and just instant get your fortress back in play. Dark Hole, Heavy Storm. You still need to play Heavy Storm. You can go Big Eye in this deck. I wouldn't want my Big Eye plays getting fucked up or messed up. Sorry. And I mean, just various other things that you can do. Just Heavy Storm's just such a good card because it can get so many pluses. Book of Moon, when you need to get your gadget searches off, you can flip Thunder King face down, or you can flip your gadgets face down in response to a Veiler. Pot of Avarice. It's not as live as I would want it to be, but then again, I really like the fact that I had the Maxi, and the fact that you're discarding a lot for Fortress and things like that make it live a lot. Two Fiendish Chain because I'm not running Veilers, so I do want to negate effects, and I really like Fiendish Chain in this format right now. It's good pretty much across the board. Then one of my tech cards that I really like in Gadgets is called the Haunted. I think it's completely busted in Gadgets because you can call these guys back and get searches, and if you haven't wasted your normal summon, you can go Gear Gigant X. It's also kind of like in Insectors, where if your opponent wants to warning one of your gadgets so you do not get a search, then what's basically going to happen is you can just flip call after they pay 2,000 life points, you get a search, and it's pretty bad for them. You can also call Fortress, and anytime you don't have to discard for Fortress is amazing. And you can call Tragodia, and he can be really, really big, because your hand should never go below like 4 in this deck if you're not just completely losing. Um, so call is busted, and of course it can be chained to Heavy Storm, MST, and the like, and you'll still get a search off these guys, much like with TGs. So it's really, really good. And then you have Two-Dimensional Prison. I think it's standard. I would not play that card. Double Torrential. God, that glare is really bad, and I apologize for that. Two Torrential Tribute. All these cards are 1-for-1, so you usually don't mind a 1-for-1 with Torrential Tribute because, you know, you've already plussed. I mean, all these cards are pluses, so you don't mind the 1-for-1, and, you know, it can potentially get you a lot of pluses. Solemn Brigade. I don't understand why people are dropping these cards. They're too good right now. They're too good always. They're just definite answers to things. I don't kill myself with this card. I don't know what a lot of other people are doing. Two Compulsory Evacuation Device. Gets rid of Exceeds. I used to play this at 3, but, you know, Chaos Dragons are a thing. Inherent Summons are a thing. So I'm not liking it as much as I used to. Double Bottomless. An amazing card right now. And finally, One Starlight Road. You can take this out or not. That's, like, I think the 42nd card for the deck, and it's just in there just because when you resolve this card, you usually win, but it can be dead at times. Robbie Cole didn't play it in his deck, but Alex Van Zandt plays it in his. I draw a lot of inspiration from the both of them, so I decided to take it because I really like the card itself. So now we're going to go on to the... Actually, I want to talk a bit about the deck first and why I think it's really good right now and better than YuGiOh. The reason why it's better than YuGiOh is because, one, it doesn't take as much time to set up. These are instant pluses without having to set them like Armor. Yes, Armor's reusable and that's great, but it's vulnerable to Nobleman or Crossout, which is very, very bad. I don't like Cyber Dragon and or System Down as much against YuGiOhs or Gadgets for that matter as I like Nobleman and Crossout against YuGiOh. It's very, very good because it stops you from going off by stopping you from setting up. But this doesn't have that weakness. Plus, I can play Tragodia, which means I'm getting OTK'd hopefully 2 times less because I run Tragodia. And it means, like, again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but in the Mermail matchup, when you have Tragodia out on the field, and you can discard this Fortress and take their Abyss Megalo, which is really cool. So I think this gives you a really good Mermail matchup. This gives you a good wind-up matchup. I wasn't main decking hand traps in my YuGiOhs because I didn't see the point. And this, I just like having that in there. Let's see what else. Just gives you really good matchups. Fiendish Chain gives you a good matchup against Insectors, which is great. You pretty much have it over Rabbit in this deck, just with the Fortress. I mean, you don't need to do anything but just sit on that. The only thing they can do to get rid of it is Maestro it, and then you get to pop a card out of their hand, and then you get to pop a card on the field. So you have a really easy Rabbit matchup, except if they're running macro. It's the only way they're going to get around this. Kind of sucks that they have Glybus to run these over, but then they run that over, you bring out this, and they bring out Delta, and it's just like, okay, my track's bigger than yours. And so yeah, that's pretty much the main deck. I think that's a really good matchup with everything right now in the format. So let's go on to the side deck. Side deck, we have 2 Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, 4 Chaos Dragons. We have 2 Cyber Dragon. I know I was talking about how I don't like this against YuGiOh, but we can't really play System Down against them, so Cyber Dragon's just good, also good against heroes where you just need more beaters. So you have heroes, you have Connect Soldier because it's searchable by Gear Gigant X. You have the 3rd MST, and 2 Soul Takers, Outs to Thunder King are necessary. Then you have 3 Gozen match. I try not to play any deck that can't play this right now because I don't like to play decks that get shut down by this. It's too good against Wind Up, Rabbit. It's also really good against Prophecy, which is one thing I wanted to talk about. If you Gozen match them early on in the game when they're starting off with their Spellbook Magician, which they'll usually try to do, they'll be stuck only being able to play Waters, and they can't exceed the Gachi Gachi. So you really slow them down a whole heck of a lot and leave them with the crappy Spellbook Magicians on the field. 2 Shadow Imprisonings and 2 Soul Drains kind of go hand in hand. I was just main decking macro, or side decking macro, but it screws with the Fortress, so I had to double up against a lot of matchups. This hurts Inlanians, Dark Worlds, and the like, but doesn't hurt Insectors like macro does, so I had to play Shadow Imprisoning, but it allows me to double up against um, Dark World, which I like as well. And then the edge deck is incomplete, so I just have a few staple things that you're going to need, and then I'm going to tell you about the other things you should want to get. Gear Gigant X, you only need one, especially in this deck. You only need one YuGiOh too. It's a very good card though, but you rarely ever go it. It's just a nice little plus. Stardust Dragon for the road, Utopia. There's another Utopia there. I don't know why I didn't realize that. Shockmaster, you can make it even without the use of Ultimate Offering, so I like it. Gemet Pearl, Gozen, Fairy King, Gozen, Zenmain, or not Zenmain, Zen, I can't think of his name, Meister, goes in again, and Maestro because it's amazing. You're also going to need a Big Eye. Good luck getting that. I don't even know how I'm going to get my hands on one. But Big Eye is very much necessary because of the fortresses. Let you play around Gores, even though this deck really doesn't have that big of a problem with Gores, because what are they going to do with the Gores other than keep it in defense mode anyway? Because they're not going to want to attack with the fortress and kill Gores anyway, so. Yeah, but it helps you attack through Gores. And other cards you're going to need, Ivagishki Marigeist is always good. Abyss Dweller as Matty Daddy's 12. You should check out his video on Abyss Dweller. It's very informative. It's a really good card right now. And yeah, so that's been my deck profile, guys. Hope I gave an in-depth explanation to everything. Hope you guys liked it. Yeah, remember to check out my channel, rate, comment, and subscribe. I would really love to hear you guys' comments on my decks. And thank you again, Maddie's Daddy 12, for letting me upload this video on your channel. Really appreciate it, man. And I'll see you later, YouTube.